Hi, my name is Cameron Carlson with AnimeLocation.tv. I'm here at Ohayocon 2023 with my friend, Mr. Kiba Walker. How you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. So, how'd you get started in the world of entertainment?
I was 6 years old, and I decided, well, my family decided, I don't really have thoughts of my own at that time. My family decided to put me into a lot of extracurricular activities. I started in music, and then dance, and then acting, and I was a child star in Los Angeles when I was like from 7 to 12. And in a boy band with Ross Lynch from Austin and Alley. And once I kind of got my feet wet there, we moved to Reno, Nevada. And what I love about it was that really brought my love of theater out.
Yeah.
So I started examining musical theater, just regular straight plays, a lot more of the technical side.
Yeah.
And when I was graduating high school, I was like, I'm going to go to Broadway. I'm going to go do that. And right at the last minute, my friend kind of introduced me to the world of voiceover. And I started examining that more, and that became my thing. And 11 years later, that's basically what happened. I became a voice actor.
Well, awesome sauce. So, kind of rolling two questions into one. You get to work on Chainsaw Man. And then what makes it so awesome to work on that show for you personally?
Well, I've been a big fan of Chainsaw Man. The show, the manga especially, is so entertaining. And I was really, really hoping to be in it in some capacity. Originally, I was like, I want to be Denji really bad, and that audition process was really fun. And then after that happened, and then Ryan Colt Levy, who's amazing as Denji, I was like, okay, I just want to be in this show. And I have another favorite character, Beam, and I was like, oh, I love the Shark Boy, he's great. But working on Chainsaw Man was really cool because it was an experience that, for me, kind of shows the magic of anime. I worked on a lot of the background stuff. We did a lot of zombie work, which zombies I don't ever get to play often. So I had to go through my Rolodex of like zombies from every form of media. I was pulling clickers out from Last of Us. I was like, Evil Dead, Deadites. I was looking at like George Romero. Yeah. So I had to go in for 3 hours just trying to pull this out. But I think Chainsaw Man's so important because it's the newest shonen, even though it's not really shonen. Right. And I think everyone really loves it, and being a part of something that everyone is hype about is just so exciting.
Awesome. Now, you also tell us about your passion about representation in voice acting.
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, we as a people kind of forget sometimes that as actors, yes, it is just the voice we're doing, right, but at the end of the day, these are real characters we're bringing to life. And I think that's a lot of the time what people miss as fans, especially. They're like, but why does it matter? Because these are just characters, they're not real. And I'm like, but they are real, that's why you connect to them. Right. If they were not three-dimensional people, you wouldn't feel the same way you do about these shows. Right. So the fact that we have proper people of color, LGBTQ representation in these roles, it means that these people are working. And it's not always about making sure they match with the character. It's making sure that they at least get the audition, or they get the chance to play these individuals, because our stories are just as valid as anyone else's. But we're going in the right direction. We just need to keep pushing, and I hope fans can be vocal about it too.
Oh no, I mean, honestly, I have a lot of friends who are LGBT, and whenever I hey, I have a director that wants it, so I'll tweet out, like, if any director says that, I'll tweet it out, like, even to help you guys. I have no say. I just try to help. So now, do you feel representation in voice acting is moving forward in the right direction, like you said, and how can fans help? Like I said, I try to tweet out, like, if a director says, hey, I'm looking for LGBT people, I'll try to tweet it out just as a fan. So is that what fans should do, is just like spread the word?
Fans should always spread the word. Fans actually have more power than you think, because Crunchyroll, all these companies that make these things, yes, they make money off of it because anyone who subscribes gets it. But the people that are subscribing are the fans. And if the fans are vocal about it and say, hey, we need to see more people of color, we need to see more, trans individuals, we need to see more people in the LGBT community in these roles, they need to be vocal about it. And they need to not let the people in the fandom that are more toxic about it drown them out. And I see that overweight a lot more. So what you can do, we're moving in the right direction. It's just taking a lot of being vocal and being, brash about it. We can't kind of, tiptoe around things. I think fans just need to understand that their voice is valid too, and just make it known. If you do see a casting call or you do see like a cast announcement, congratulate those who win, congratulate those that are in it, and if there are people of color or LGBTQ people involved too, congratulate them even more. Let them know that we see them and that we're seeing this.
Right, because we talk to Karin all the time. We love talking with them. So this is a really fun one. You get to work on Genshin.
Yes.
Did you ever feel like when you were working on it, you're like, this is going to be a really smash hit, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is a big deal?
Yeah. So when I joined in on Genshin, I kind of already knew. Okay. Well, sort of like, because it was early on. It was still like the 2.0. So it was like the first round of updates. I remember I remember like playing Genshin and being like, okay, this is like the new thing, whatever. And when I got the call for it, I was like, oh, Genshin, that's like huge right now, you know. And now being a part of it, like many updates later too, knowing how big it is. I mean, people talk about it every day. I think it's one of those games that'll be around for a while. But no, I didn't know how big it was really going to get. I thought it was going to be like a one and done.
Yeah.
But no, this is pretty big. It's massive and everyone loves it. So it's cool.
Hopefully a little more work.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I mean, I have a pretty good relationship with both directors, and it's always a random time and a really welcome random email sometimes. Then I'm like, ooh, more stuff, and I never know what I'm doing going in, so it's really exciting to just kind of like be thrown into the world of Genshin and be like, what am I doing now? So it's fun.
Awesome. So you also happen to work on My Hero Academia.
Yes.
It's now in its 6th season, having another movie coming out. How's it like working on the show?
I mean, that was a dream of mine. My Hero has been a favorite of mine since the manga started. I'm a big Marvel and DC fan, so I was instantly drawn to like this X-Men superhero meets anime thing. Yeah. And when I moved to Texas in 2017, I was like, I want to be in My Hero. That's the one thing I want. And it went for 5 seasons, and I was like, okay, I guess it's never going to happen. I mean, the manga's still going, so there's still a chance. And then when I got the call to be Cider House, I was very excited. In season 6, he's coming back, which I saw in the sub. So hopefully we'll get to go back in for a little bit. And who knows what else? Maybe the movie. It'd be really cool to be a part of more My Hero. It's just such a very personal show to me. So, yeah.
Hopefully the folks over there in Dallas hear you.
Please. I'll email as much as I need to.
And again, another big show you got to work on in Dallas was Black Clover.
Yes.
It's wrapping up. It's going to have this kind of movie wrap up. So how is it like kind of saying goodbye?
It's the first kind of long show I've had to say goodbye to because most of the stuff I've worked on that I've had kind of a named character or more prominent roles in, it's been like a 1 or 2 season type thing. So Black Clover is going to be the first one that I've worked on, you know, across different time periods. And in my Funimation and Crunchyroll career, you know, Black Clover was one of the first shows I worked on when I moved. And then it was one of the first few named roles I had, and then you know, obviously now with it closing out, it's going to be interesting to see how everyone reacts, the fandom. I really hope that they enjoy the movie and how we close it out, and I hope, you know, Pablo gets to come back or me as something else. I don't know, we'll see, but it'll be really cool to see how the fandom reacts because I know that the show is very much loved, and you know, it's a big one. A lot of people sleep on Black Clover, but it's a big show.
Yeah, we talked to Brandon McInnes about it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, Brandon's great.
So another fun thing, because I'm a huge Gearbox fan and I love Borderlands, is you get to work on Tiny Tina's Wonderland. How was it like, you know, again, that's a really cool game because we talked to Kieran about it, about representation and how they were working on building their character on in their knight in the game. So what was it like for you to see that Gearbox was really caring about building an entire LGBT-centric team to then represent them in the game for fans to also have a representation?
I thought it was really cool. Borderlands is such a wild experience. I think what was really cool, Joel McDonald, who's now the director at Gearbox, he is an incredible human being. He's the one who put me in One Piece right when I moved in. He's always cared about like me as an actor and a person. So when Wonderlands was casting, he had emailed me and told me like, hey, you're going to be pirate, like this pirate boss creature. And when I found out, he's like, yeah, Barry Yandel and Kent Williams are going to be like gay pirate lovers, and you're going to be the one that kills both of them. And it's not spoilers, I promise. And it's really funny because I was like, oh yeah, the three gay guys are just bad pirates, and they're like killing each other. I love it. So we had a great time. And when I noticed, because I didn't know who else was cast at that point, so we went to this Gearbox release party for it. And I saw all my actor friends was like, okay, y'all are in it. And I just noticed a lot of POC, a lot of queer people. And it was really cool because I was like, yes, this is what I like to see, is like people in our community getting the opportunity to be here. And Kieran is amazing as Paladin Mike, and there's just so much representation. Wanda Sykes even, and, AAA list, having queer people in those prominent roles, and even as little as mine is, it's really important to gamers out there that are looking for their stories being told.
I mean, like I said, I still need to pick up the game, but I still feel it's important.
Good.
Yeah. So again, when you're now, fun weird thing is that you also work on visual novels.
Yes.
How's it hard to kind of convey, because it's just this straight dialogue. There's not a lot of movement on the screen. So how do you make sure your voice is conveying the emotions of, like, the character just changing from angry to sad or happy to, how do you make sure your voice reflects that with that text lines?
It's actually, when I first started, it was very difficult because you do have to convey it in a certain way that's not over the top. But it's easier than like dubbing because you don't have a time limit really. Okay. So with like dub flaps, when you're doing ADR, you have to time your emotion, your acting, and everything within a certain amount of time. With visual novels, you can kind of slow it down a little bit because the text is going to obviously keep going, and then the acting is going to come with it. So as I realized I don't have to rush as much, I was able to kind of flesh out these characters more. And now going into like my probably like 15th visual novel, I don't even know, with Sensations 2, playing this character named Tech, he talks fast naturally. So a lot of his dialogue has emotion, but it's so quick that I have to kind of find the balance of how do I make this emotive. And he wears a mask. So like his entire helmet has this, like it changes emotions based on, and then when he takes it off, obviously he has emotions, but it's just interesting because a lot of people love the visual novel scene, the Otome games, and I think it's because we can really make this a story, take our time. It's not like set within and people can go at their own rate. So, I mean, it's pretty fun. It's pretty easy.
Sorry, I have some friends that are waving at us.
Good.
So, so you happen to work on the show Junji Ito's Konoshe, a collection of his work, knowing how well celebrated he is. And, the fun part is he just did, because I'm a Magic the Gathering player.
Oh, yeah.
So he's doing one of the exclusive arts of Elish Norn card variants.
Cool.
So what's it like working on his, working on a show for him?
So I'm a big horror movie fan. I'm a big horror fan in general. That was my first named role at Funimation, which was very fitting. The director, Terry Doty, at the time, and Mike McFarlane.
Terry.
Yeah, Terry and Mike. I had worked with Mike on One Piece briefly before that, and I remember getting the Twitter DM from Terry saying, "Hey, you're in Fort Worth, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Do you want to be, like, in this show?" And I remember I was like, Junji Ito. I was like, I love horror. And she said, okay, I want you to go home and I want you to watch the episode on Crunchyroll, and I want you to tell me who you think you are. And I was like, ooh, this is fun. And I was like listening to it and I was like, I don't want to say I'm the guy with the most lines, but I feel like I'm the guy with the most lines. He sounds like me. So I messaged her. I was like, am I Scano? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. So my first major Funimation role was, a 4-hour session at night. I was in the booth by myself recording this creepy ass character. And I think it's important to note that Junji Ito has such a unique style that it is like David Cronenberg to us. It's very body horror, very much that era of like Sam Raimi and just tearing things apart, and I love that. I think it's really unique. And Junji Ito now has become so big with the new Uzumaki on like Adult Swim, and then they just released the new Junji Ito series on Netflix. So being a part of that legacy as the first animated series is like cool to me. And just seeing how much people love his art and love his style, that makes me happy because it knows that like we're a part of his, not his success, but his journey, and being able to spread his art because it's important.
No, okay, we're gonna kind of take a weird thing here, real quick. Where can we follow you online, and then any projects you want fans to know about that you're not behind NDA?
Yeah, of course. You can follow me at just Kiba Walker, literally the word just Kiba Walker on Twitter, or Kiba the Voice on Instagram. Right now, trying to think, I'm working on a new visual novel called Sensations 2 Modern Gods. I play Tech. I'm also helping as part of the casting team. I also am working on Innermind Legacy, which is one of my original projects that I worked on with a friend, James Hurd, in Austin, Texas. And they're making it into a visual novel now after 13 years. So it's really cool. And stay tuned to my Twitter and Instagram for some updates. I have some announcements coming out soon about shows I'm in. So just keep an eye out.
Alrighty, and we're going to be right back after this. Hi, my name is Cameron Carlson with AnimeLocation.tv. I'm here at Ohayocon 2023 with Salem Moon.
Hello, hi.
Hi, no, so, real quick, how did we get started in the world of drag?
So drag kind of came from my love of cosplay. I was going to conventions a lot as a cosplayer, and one of the ones I would always like make and like customize outfits for was like a rainbow dash kind of thing.
Oh, yay.
And so I had like this idea of like, oh, I'm doing drag and cosplay, it's cool. And I did a lot of theater, so makeup and everything. But really, I moved to Texas back in 2017, and I started doing drag kind of more consistently, and I was like, I like this, and I don't know, it just kind of took off, especially after the pandemic. I was stuck inside most of the time, obviously, so I created a lot of digital content as my drag shows online. So I was like, I'll do that, and then when I got out of pandemic, everyone wanted to book me at their shows, so now it's like part of my full-time job as well as being a voice actor, so it's very cool.
So yeah, so you have a high-flying personality when performing. How did that aspect come about? Because I watched a very brief Twitter photo of you just kind of sliding on in there and just going to work. So how was it like when you developed the high-flying personality?
It comes from my love of just performing on stage. As a young kid, like I was in dance a lot. I'm trained in various dance styles for the past 18, 19 years now. And I was like, if I can dance and I can sing and drag, then I'm going to just bring that. So I just bring another personality. Salem does bring a different level of confidence than Kiba does. And it's really interesting because when I put on everything and I have to be this different persona, it's just like a whole different person takes over for a bit. And then when I take everything off, I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm sore. And I'm like, this is a lot. But I always love performing. I like to make people happy. And if I can do my tricks and I can do them safely, then I'm going to do them.
Alrighty, now it's well noted that you've competed in some very high-profile contests within the DFW area, and you won one of them one season. How is that feeling, winning that one competition?
It feels like a big weight off my shoulder because you compete for so long. It was 13 weeks of competition, and you're sewing, you're dancing, you're making skits, you're literally sweating and blood, sweat, and tears, and then finally they crown you. It's quite incredible. The competition was called the Queer Off. It's Dallas's version of Drag Race, except in a bar with less money at stake. But it was fun. It was 13 weeks. I had to beat 16 people. Yeah. And I never lip synced in the bottom. I was never in the bottom. I was always either in the top placement high or I won a challenge. And the Final Four challenge, I just remember going upstairs and putting on my final runway look. I crafted a Freddie Mercury inspired outfit. Yay. And it was really cool. It had a bunch of reveals made by Rico Cavalli. And I just looked at myself in the mirror and I said, well, whatever happens, I made it all the way here and I should be proud. Yes. And when I won, I became the first African-American winner of the show, too. Wow. So it was very big to me to, like, come out and win. And now, ever since then, I've been able to inspire a new generation of queens and kings and performers to go and try the Queer Off.
No, I mean, honestly, I saw that, and I was like, yeah, you deserve this.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So with drag shows like RuPaul's, becoming more mainstream, do you feel it's helped the community be more accepted by the general public?
Yes and no. I think the yes part is definitely, without Drag Race, we would not have drag out in the mainstream as much. I mean, there's been tours, there's been headlines. We have queens in Marvel movies, we have queens on Broadway in leading roles right now. So I think Drag Race has really helped the community and the public just being like, hey, this is a job like anything else. But I also think it has caused a lot of controversy because now that it's so in the public, a lot of the people that don't really understand it or, want to shut it down have more ammunition, even though the ammunitions are blank. It doesn't really work. There has been a lot of conversations recently, just, I think, now brought up by Drag Race and Dragula and all these other shows, that I think it's important. I think we can't have all good without the bad. Yeah. And I think it's very important to have both in the spotlight because without that we can't have good conversations and we can't change minds. And I think that's what drag's about. It's about changing minds. It's about spreading love and acceptance. And it's about showcasing your art. And that's what it is at the end of the day.
I mean, you have to have some discourse, and it just needs to be healthy discourse.
It has to be healthy. It has to be healthy, and it has to have a reason rather than just to be there and
shout.
Yeah.
So again, we talked about a personality change and differences. So you really express yourself when you are performing as Salem. but how does it feel when the crowd's like, yes, yes, more Salem, more Salem?
It just eggs me on more, and it makes me do things that I really shouldn't do. Like if I'm tired and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do this split or I can do this trick today, and then everyone's cheering and stuff and throwing money at me. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have to do something. And that's always when I hurt myself. But luckily last night at the drag show, I did not. I ended up doing a lot of tricks that I haven't done in a while, and it felt really good. And it just remember seeing people cheer and like their reaction coming close to them. I really, the reason I do drag and I do voiceover is I really want to just make people happy. Yeah. And if I can do that by wearing a wig and walking down and just looking someone in the eyes and smiling, and they felt like their life has changed or they felt like they had the best weekend ever, then my job is done. And it doesn't matter if I have to ice my leg afterwards or whatever. I really just enjoy making people happy. And the audience always loves Salem. Yeah. I have never been, and this is not bragging, I promise, but I've never been in a show where they don't like me. And I think it's just because I have a certain way I express my face, and that comes from my theater background. It comes from me watching celebrities in movies and watching how they act and knowing what kind of expressions I want to convey with certain words. And they just connect. And there's something about it, I still don't know fully what it is, but there's something about it that people connect with me, and hopefully I'll find out soon what that is.
Yeah. So when you're competing, though, what is one of your go-to styles you love to wow the judges?
I'm all about vintage glamour. Ooh. I think old Hollywood is really beautiful. I also like to mix a bit of the macabre and darkness in it. So, like, one of my favorite things to do is I recently competed in a pageant called Miss Gay Texas US of A at Large, and I was 4th alternate, so it was 5th place, which is, in the competition world, there's a top 12, which is, like, great, and if you make the top 5, which is all they call, then that's fantastic. And it was my first year competing. I made top 5. I beat out veteran, queens. And my whole aesthetic the whole night was dark, was black, velvets, like asymmetrical, high slit in the legs, very Mae West and, Vivienne Westwood. This whole, like, mix of modern with classic is what I love. And so I just love old Hollywood. I'm a big cinephile, so that's what I like to incorporate.
And again, we talking about your shows, you love to sing, and we talked about your background. So, what would be like a song you'd love to like get out there and sing?
One of the ones I go to is "I Have Nothing" by Whitney Houston. I sing that all the time. I'll do anything by Lizzo, just something that can belt and get people on their feet. I'll do Adele sometimes. And then I'll even do musical theater. I've incorporated Les Mis. I've done stuff from Waitress. It just kind of depends on the day. I'll go out and sing whatever as long as I feel like my voice is up to it. But one of the biggest things when I did my competitions, I sang Queen, obviously. And then at my big pageant, I sang Burn from Hamilton. Ooh. And I did a whole Eliza Schuyler, Eliza Hamilton thing. So anything that just makes me emote, I like.
Awesome. So kind of wrapping things up, where can we follow you online?
Yes.
And what would you love to say to all the other people who want to express themselves through drag, and what does it mean for them to go, okay, time to let myself out?
Yeah. You can follow me at Salem Moon Drag on all platforms. I think my last thing to say is if you're looking to do drag, you're looking to express yourself, even if you're not looking to do drag and you want to do cosplay, you want to do theater, you want to dance, you just want to go out and be an artist, remember this, that no one can control your art. No one can control who you are. So don't try so hard to be like someone else or do something that someone else is doing. Do what you want to do, get the critiques, get the feedback, but just remember that you at the end of the day are in control of your future. So if you want to go out and be a drag artist who does something completely different or something that's maybe not seen at shows, then do it. Be the trailblazer that you're meant to be, because life is too short to hold yourself back. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
Salem, it was fun talking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.